Hi everyone, my name is Dave Harrity. I'm a writer and artist from Louisville, Kentucky, and I am so grateful to be part of this Speed series called Speed Inspired, where artists and local patrons of the arts take a piece from the private collection of the Speed Museum, talk about it, and then reflect on it artistically. So thank you for allowing me to do this, and I hope you enjoy this little video. I chose to write about the work of Yves Tanguy, who is a French surrealist. I've very much enjoyed learning about Tanguy, and I knew about him a little bit before, but not too much. I've always enjoyed surrealist art, and the painting that the Speed has in their collection, which was funded by Mr. and Mrs. Charles Horner many, many years ago, so thank you so much for your generous patronage. This painting is called Other Ways. It was painted in 1939. And Other Ways is pretty indicative of Tanguy's work. It's a sort of a flattened landscape with shapes and shadows. And one of the things I like about Tanguy on the whole is that he wasn't formally trained artistically, and he was a bit of a workhorse. He just kind of started making work, and he kept making it and making it and making it. And that was, he produced, and he kept moving. And I resonate with that quite a bit in my own artistic life. The other thing I really am attracted to by Tanguy's work, and in this painting it's shining quite a bit, is Tanguy's use of shadow, which is something he was known for. He was a surrealist before the surrealist movement kind of really kicked up, and he helped, and his work helped to solidify it and drive it. So you'll notice in his paintings that the shadows are painted these blacks and grays, and they're very stark, very strange looking shapes. And that shadow consistency was something he developed over his entire career. The interesting thing about it is that he would create the shadow before he would create the shape, and the shadow would then dictate the shape. So it's a bit of a backward way of doing it, I think, than most people are trained to do, but that's the way he did it. So it was kind of a signature of his. The other thing I think that's really important to notice about the use of shadows in his work is that that he sought to use the shadow consistently throughout his entire career. Often when you're looking at surrealist work, it can feel depersonalized and flat to a lot of people. People have trouble orienting inside of it, but the shadow and its consistent use in the work, I think, gestures toward the shadows that we all have, and then the shapes that we take from those shadows. It's kind of an interesting play. Right now we're in some really strange times, national pandemic, social unrest, and it seems that some of our shadow selves are coming out. I don't have too much more to say on the subject, other than that one of the respites of the chaos, and one of the ways that we can productively engage in a conversation and a movement, is to make art and look at art and talk about art, and explore the art of people who are different from us. So that was a fun exercise to do with Tanguy, who had a very different upbringing than mine and had a very different life than mine. So I'd like to just kind of share this poem that I wrote. It's a very short poem, and I've titled it after the Tanguy piece. So this poem is called Other Ways. Behind the shadow is another shadow, a relief in the shape of what I used to be. Thanks.